Oh, hey, y'all. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Amy, how are you? Listen, I'm not unawares of the fact that there's drams going on. So I'm just going to give everybody a little bit of chance to get in and see, give everybody a second. Let them, hopefully their notifications will pop up and they'll come on in and watch this. But yeah, we'll see. Shmita, why don't you unmute? Let's just chitter chat for a bit before people come in.
We can do that.
Okay.
I got my headphones now.
Oh, I know you fancy. You high living now. Hey, Cement Shoes. Hey, Momo. What y'all doing? We just thought we'd
There's
give
not a
everybody
minute.
like a little extra time to get in here because, yeah, I am aware of what's going on these YouTube streets. It is what it is. Molson man, what's going on? I think y'all are gonna like this one because I snuck in a little something for Dr. B and for all y'all, for all y'all who were kids in the 90s. Yeah. I wasn't exactly a kid, I was a teenager, but still.
I was born in the 90s.
I don't want to talk to you, Shmita. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm not gonna say this right. How do you say that name, Shmita? Nayun honey? Nayuin honey? Nayuin honey? Not gonna be. I'm sorry.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm so sorry.
Why don't you try to help
I
me?
usually just refer to her as Honey.
I'm just gonna call you honey. Yeah, Callie, good old Joey Buttafuoco. So, when I was putting the stuff together for this episode, I decided because I was so disgusted, um, with the story, because I mean, I remember it, but then when you start looking back into it or whatever, how you remember the details better, then I got disgusted. And so I'm sorry to say that if you want to find out what happened to Joey Buttafuoco, where he's at now, y'all gonna have to hit up the Google because it's not gonna be coming from me. I'm not giving that fool no more play. He just made me mad. So what's the new way? And I did say it right. Look at me. Sometimes I'm smart. I'm writing a joke Christmas song about the YouTube BS to the 12 days of I can't wait. I can't wait. And True Psych Ward, it's so good to see you. I'm excited to see you. I hope you drive safe. So, who all kind of knows this story a little bit, maybe? That just needs a little bit of a refresher. You know this story, Shmita? You heard of this one?
No, I haven't. Oh,
Oh,
don't
really?
mind my husband in the background.
Hi, husband. We're not going to say your name. We like to protect people's anonymities on the YouTube streets. Well, we do. Not everybody does. We're classy, though. Super classy.
So classy.
So classy. Oh, I know you know this one, Molson Man. Okay. And Callie, oh, you know it too because you're a native. Hey, Amelia, how are you? Um, I forgot where I was going. Now I'm distracted. See, I can't look at chat because I've been getting distracted. I need help. All right, so this story happened in 92, okay, and it was huge. It was everywhere. It's all that people were talking about. And what's interesting about it, in my opinion, is the way that in which Amy was spoken about in 1992 versus the way I think she would probably be spoken about today. So this is what happened. So this happened in Long Island, obviously. So New York. So Amy Fisher was a high school kid. All right. There's some question about exactly how old she was when all of this started. Okay. But somewhere between 15 and 16. So she had a vehicle and she wrecked it at some point, and her father took her vehicle to be repaired at Complete Auto Body, which was an auto body shop that Joey Buttafuoco and his family owned. Okay, so that's where they met. And Amy would later say that there were times that she would intentionally get into an accident, um, just to have an excuse to go and see Joey at the auto body shop. All right. But Joey was 35. Amy was 15, almost 16, I think, when this started. Okay. So they carry on this relationship for like 2 years. All right. Um, Behind, Mary Joe's back. He's married and he's got kiddos, right? And Mary Joe was his high school sweetheart. Okay. So they're having this whole illicit, illegal affair. And at some point, Amy gets an STD, and she tells her parents, who gave it to her. And she says it was Joey, right? Well, um, they have like a meeting with Joey, and then Amy recants and says, "No, I said it because I was embarrassed, yada, yada, yada." Right. Well, the family wasn't really believing her, but at the same time, without her, admission that they were sleeping together, then, you know, there wasn't really a whole lot they could do. So time is progressing and Amy's getting more and more frustrated and jealous over Mary Jo. So what she ends up doing is she gets a 25 caliber handgun, and this another older gentleman by the name of Peter Guagnetti. I don't know how to say that. Guagnetti or something like that. Anyway, I don't know how to pronounce it today. He ends up being the driver for her. All right, so he drives her over to the Buttafuoco house. All right, and Amy knocks on the door, and Mary Jo answers the door. All right, and when Mary Jo answers the door, Amy has a T-shirt that the auto body shop handed out for promotions. Right, and she tells Mary Jo Buttafuoco that her younger sister is having an affair with her husband, and she offers up the T-shirt as proof. And Mary Jo is not believing her. Now, the thing you have to know about this part of it is that Amy Fisher doesn't have a younger sister. This was all a ruse, okay, is to confront Mary Jo. So they're arguing back and forth for about 15 minutes, and Mary Jo is getting increasingly angry, and Amy is getting increasingly, what's the word I'm looking for? She's not angry, she's just desperate. She wanted Mary Jo to believe her. All right, but Mary Jo wouldn't believe her. So as Mary Jo, she's like, enough is enough. So she turns around to go back into the house. All right. And when she does that, Amy hits her a couple of times in the back of the head with the gun. And then she shoots her right above her ear. And as this happens, Mary Jo falls on her. All right. And then she just like backs away or whatever. And she's in a panic. So she drops the gun and the T-shirt, and she starts, bolting for the car because her getaway driver is there. Right. Well, she, I guess, remembered I left the gun and the T-shirt. So she goes, she turns around real quick and she grabs the gun and the T-shirt, and her and Peter take off. Okay. Which later he would face charges. So the neighbors call 911, and Mary Jo is rushed to the hospital. She's in surgery for hours and hours and hours. And what ends up happening is that although they saved Mary Jo's life, they cannot remove the bullet. So the bullet is still lodged in her skull to this day. All right. So the police show up at the hospital. All right. Hi, Team Psych Ward. So the police show up at the hospital, and they're talking and interviewing Joey, right? Well, Mary Jo she's not quite, she's not in a coma, but she's not woken up yet. Okay. I think it took her a minute. I think she was unconscious for a good 24 hours. All right. So they're talking to Joey, and Joey says that he thinks that Amy Fisher might have done this. So they get a photograph of Amy Fisher. And when Mary Jo Buttafuoco wakes up, they show her this picture, and she is able to say, yeah, that's the girl that shot me. Okay. And so the cops, they go and arrest her, and she is charged with attempted murder. Okay. Well, this makes the news. People are floored because, where Mary Jo and Joey lived, it was a nice, like, suburban neighborhood. They didn't have, you know, shootings like this. So this, okay. So makes the news. This is when it all sort of like the media frenzy gets crazy. Okay. And they're all talking about it, and Joey is, I don't know what's wrong with that girl. I never slept with that girl. She's she's a liar. She's I don't she just was infatuated with me. I had no, he's doing all the things. And as he's doing all the things, all the denying and all the things, right, Mary Jo is standing by her man, and she's working hard to regain what she had lost. I mean, she's forever permanently, bless her heart, damaged. She, her side of her face is paralyzed. She's still deaf in one ear. But she's trying to go through physical therapy and recover and everything. And then on top of it, she's hearing all of these salacious reports about her husband having basically pimping Amy out. And I mean, it's all coming out. Like, this is back in the day when like Inside Edition and Hard Copy and those kind of shows, or Current Affair, were like huge, and they were on every freaking night. It's all they ever talked about. All right. So this happens May 19th. All right. So this is playing out in the court of public opinion. It's all in the tabloids, and then on, all the tabloid news shows and all that. Right. All right. So on September 23rd, 1992, Amy enters a plea. They agree to a plea bargain. All right. So what she ended up getting was first degree assault. All right. So they agree to the plea bargain. All right. But then then it takes some time before there's going to be sentencing. All right. So, in the interim of this plea bargain, right, which was on September 23rd, Hard Copy shows this video. All right. From inside of a gym. And it's Amy Fisher and Paul Makeley, and he owned a gym in Massapequa. All right. So this conversation that was videoed was took place just hours before Amy um, took this plea deal. All right. And basically they're talking, and Amy's talking about, her future. And she's saying she wanted to marry Paul so he could visit her in prison. And that her attorney thought that you shouldn't have to be married in order to get conjugal visits in prison. And he was going to fight uh, to have the law changed, and he was going to use Amy as, like the what's precedence, right? And Paul's like, why would you want to do that? And Amy says, because that will keep my name in the press. Why? Because I can make a lot of money. I figure if I'm going through all this pain and suffering, I'm getting a Ferrari. Okay. So that came out, and people were outraged. All right. So then on December 2nd, 1992, she is sentenced to serve 5 to 10 years in prison. All right. For first degree assault. So she serves the 7 years. She's granted parole in 1999. So, and what happened was Nassau County Court Judge Ira Wexner shortened her maximum sentence to 10 years. So her parole would be immediate. She would be immediately eligible for parole because the judge found that she had not been appropriately represented by her lawyer in the 1992 plea deal. Okay. So, in October of 1992, the Nassau County DA stated that Buttafuoco would not be prosecuted. All right. Which also, uh, it made some people mad, but not as many people as you would think it would make mad. Right. So then in February of 1993, the case was reopened due to SA charges made by Amy. She testified against him in court, and she presented hotel receipts dated before Amy's 17th birthday with Joey's signature. So Joey was charged with statutory R and pleaded guilty October 1993, and he served 4 months in prison. All right. So while Amy is doing her time in prison, and after Joey gets out of doing his 4 months, the Buttafuoco family moves to Southern California. And Mary Jo continued to be fiercely loyal to Joey. I mean, for years. She even defended him when he was arrested in 1995 in LA for sexual solicitation. So she blamed everyone else for years, everyone but Joey. Well, on February 3rd, 2003, Mary Jo filed for divorce from Joey Buttafuoco. She underwent a facial reanimation procedure in 2006. And she, like I said, she's still paralyzed on one side of her face and deaf in one ear. And the way that they did the procedure, it helped Mary Jo be able to smile again. And she had a lot of work done, and she looks really great. I'll show you. There's stuff in here for her of that. So in 2002, Mary Jo married Stu Tender in Vegas, and unfortunately, he passed away from cancer in 2018. Now, 16 years after the shooting in 2009, Mary Jo wrote a book called, this is literally the longest book title in history, I think. It's called Getting It Through My Thick Skull, Why I Stayed, What I Learned, and What Millions of People Involved with Sociopaths Need to Know. And okay, so Amy, when she gets out, she first she's like a columnist for the Long Island Press. She wrote, her biography written by Robbie Wolliver in 2004 called If I Knew Then. In 2003, she married this guy named Louis Valera. They had 3 kids, and they divorced in 2015. So in 2006, Mary Jo and Amy reunited on Entertainment Tonight and the Insider. And Amy was saying in those interviews, she just wanted to heal and move on with her life. And then inexplicably, in 2008, she's quoted as saying she felt no sympathy for Mary Jo and no explanation. It never, um, she just, I don't know why she said that. So then in 2006, Joey and Amy reunite for the coin toss at the Lingerie Bowl. And then in 2007, Amy and Joey Buttafuoco met for dinner in Port Jefferson, Long Island. And TV producer David Kreef said it was an attempt to develop a reality TV show. And then in 2011, June and July, she was in the 5th season of Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. I was getting to that, Molson man. So yeah, there is a video of this reunion of sorts on YouTube, and I've watched it. It's not a very long video. Maybe after this, I'll see if I can go find it. I don't want to. I have to make sure to talk over it because I don't want I don't want anybody striking me. But anyway, it's very, very staged. They look uncomfortable with one another. They try to act like, they've loved each other this whole time. But keep in mind, when they reunited, she was still married. She had, she was married to Lou Barrera. I can't ever remember how to say his name. They're really stiff, and it just looks staged. It looked completely ridiculous. Okay. So the scandal isn't over. All right. In October of 2007, the New York Post published allegations that her husband, Lou Bellera, sold their sex tape to Red Light District Video of Los Angeles, who then published a press release saying that they intended to release the video of the couple. On October 31st, of that same year, nude pics from the video were posted on internet sites. November 1st, teaser clips released showing nude Amy Fisher showering and sunbathing. November 6, 2007, Amy Fisher sued Red Light District, claiming copyright infringement and other damages. And so in June 2008, she settled and agreed to a promotional appearance at Retox in New York City. And March 6th of 2008, Amy Fisher was a guest on Howard Stern, and Jessica, Mary Jo and Joey's daughter, called in and had some harsh criticism about Amy. And so she dipped out of the interview with Howard Stern after 6 minutes. She released several porns and did strip shows once a month. And today she's still a webcam model. So, hey, Lana, how's it going? I always want to say truth and transparency, but let's be honest, you're Lana Banana. So now what I wanted to play for you guys is a series of interviews and stuff that were done. And I'm going to start with the the local news, that coverage of it, and then we'll get into all the things from there. All right, so let me add this to the stream.
It started as a summer romance when she was just 15. Tonight, she's behind bars accused of trying to murder the wife of her 38-year-old lover. Good evening. Bill Butel is off tonight. I'm Greg Hurst.
And I'm Susan Rosegen. It's a tragic triangle. A Long Island teenager drawn to an older man, a married man. Nassau County Police say it was a secret affair that went from passion to rage. And when the bullets started flying, the wife was the first to know. Taffy Phillips has the story from Massapequa.
No one answered the door at the Buttafuoco home tonight, and visitors were unwilling to talk. But neighbors were still talking about the bizarre shooting of Mary Jo Buttafuoco and the arrest of 17-year-old Amy Fisher.
You hear like, oh, these drive-by shootings and everything. But then when you find out it's just like one incident, then, it makes you feel better about that.
I thought it was a jilted lover kind of thing, and this kind of neighborhood, shooting is real rare. Any kind of violence is pretty rare here because it's a really quiet neighborhood.
Police say Fisher, a high school senior, was having an affair with Mary Jo's husband, Joe Buttafuoco. They apparently met a year and a half ago at the Baldwin Auto.
Okay, I just wanted to say like one thing really quick. I spent a lot of time, maybe allegedly, in my opinion, when I was putting these clips together, wondering if when they're showing her walking with her hair in her face and all that, if she just was on national news with her zipper unzipped. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay.
Body shop Buttafuoco owns when Fisher's parents went there to have some work done.
She became involved in a sexual affair with him about a year ago. Joseph Buttafuoco was attempting to walk away from that affair recently, and Amy Fisher had an infatuation with him. That led us to the incident that occurred on Tuesday afternoon.
Police say Fisher walked up to the Buttafuoco home and shot Mary Jo once in the head. Neighbors told police they saw her sitting with a man in a dark-colored car shortly before the shooting, and police are still trying to determine how she got the gun. Amy was identified when Mary Jo awoke from her coma and told police what happened. Amy Fisher has been charged with attempted murder and is being held tonight without bail. Police say they expect to make at least one more arrest in this case, and that could very well be the man who was seen driving Amy Fisher to the Buttafuoco's home. In Mineola, Tappy Phillips, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And tonight, the wife, Mary Jo Buttafuoco, is in critical condition at Nassau County Medical Center.
Mary Jo Buttafuoco is still in the hospital tonight, recovering from a gunshot wound to the face. And tonight, Nassau County police are still searching for an accomplice to the love-smitten teenager who allegedly shot her. Police believe another teenager drove 17-year-old Amy Fisher to a home in Long Island where Buttafuoco was shot. Police have charged Fisher in that shooting. They say Fisher was having an affair with Buttafuoco's husband. Police are also trying to find the person who sold Fisher the gun.
Okay, so what do we think, guys? I mean, honestly, I get that we should be focusing on this this case and whatnot, but I'm reasonably sure that her zipper was unzipped in that footage.
17-year-old Long Island girl charged with shooting her lover's wife is not cooperating with Nassau County Police. They're looking for her alleged accomplice, but police say Amy Fisher of South Merrick will not tell them who drove her to the home of Mary Jo Buttafuoco last Tuesday. That's when the teenager allegedly shot Mrs. Buttafuoco in the head, critically wounding her. Police say it was a crime of passion triggered by Joseph Buttafuoco's attempt to end his 2-year affair with Fisher.
Good afternoon, I'm Greg Hurst. Tonight, who's to blame for a dangerous love affair? 17-year-old Amy Fisher was in court today accused of shooting her lover's wife. The defense describes her as an innocent victim. The prosecution paints a much different picture. Plus, new allegations fly in court that make an unbelievable story even more difficult to understand. And these exclusive pictures of the victim, Mary Jo Buttafuoco, a cap covering the bandages of a bullet wound, walking with her husband outside their Long Island home. N.J. Burkett is live with the latest.
Greg, after a contentious arraignment this morning, she is being held tonight on $2 million bail. The defense is fighting at this very hour to get that bail lowered, but so far no luck. And it appears, at least for now, that Amy Fisher will spend her 12th night here being held
Amy Fisher looked absolutely terrified as sheriff's deputies rushed her past a gauntlet of photographers. In court, she appeared drawn and exhausted. And as her parents watched from the front row, she pleaded not guilty to charges of attempted murder. Then, when
You know what, Cement Shoes? I don't feel like there was like a huge life insurance policy on her. And Amelia, this is the thing. So the whole premise of this, right, was that she did this because she was jealous and she wanted Mary Jo out of the way, right? But she said that Joey is the one that put her up to it, that he didn't want her around anymore. And so that's why.
asked by the judge whether she should be released on bail, the prosecutor unleashed a merciless attack on Amy Fisher, a 15-minute tirade that sounded more like a summation. To call her a 17-year-old girl who lives at home and goes to high school, said Assistant DA Fred Klein, is as accurate as calling John Gotti a businessman who lives in New York City. I can't imagine a worse bail risk. Klein said Amy Fisher had been planning the crime for 9 months, staking out the Buttafuoco's home more than a dozen times, and once even aborted her plans at the last minute when she couldn't lure Mary Jo Buttafuoco outside. On May 19th, he says, she succeeded, but failed in her murder attempt. But Klein told the judge that the only wound the victim had was a bullet in her head. Klein said at least 3 men have identified Amy Fisher as a prostitute. The defense waited its turn, then took on the prosecutor. He knows full well who put her into prostitution, said Eric Nyberg. Mr. Buttafuoco is the pimp who put her in the damned business, he said. I find it grotesque. The defense insists that the victim's husband, Joseph Buttafuoco, had ties to the ABBA escort service, where Amy Fisher began working last year. The Buttafuocos attend daily rehabilitation sessions. Eyewitness News has learned that Mary Jo Buttafuoco is standing by her husband, who would speak only of his wife's recovery.
He's recovering, thank God. Not totally, but it's going to be a long road. Yeah.
The judge set bail at $2 million. Amy Fisher's attorney said she fears Joseph Buttafuoco. When asked why, he paused for several seconds and said this.
She's a potential link between his freedom or lack of freedom.
The defense is hinting that somehow Joseph Buttafuoco is involved in his wife's shooting. More on that on Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock tonight. For now, we're live at the Nassau County Jail, East Meadow, Long Island, where Amy Fisher is being held on $2 million bail. NJ Burke at Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And it was exactly 2 weeks ago that Mary Jo Buttafuoco was shot and wounded, allegedly by Amy Fisher.
It's frightening that one person can do so much damage, so much damage. It's frightening.
Mary Jo Buttafuoco, angry and outraged as Amy Fisher leaves court on bail and with a plea bargain deal to trim years off her prison term. Good evening, everybody. I'm Roz Abrams.
And I'm Greg Hurst. Bill and Diana are off tonight. And we begin with a done deal. The high school girl who admits shooting a Long Island housewife will pay for her crime of passion with years behind bars. And now Amy Fisher is said to be turning against her alleged lover. But will that make Joseph Buttafuoco the next target for prosecutors investigating his wife's shooting and alleged involvement with an underage girl? NJ Burkett has details.
I want to know if this was an accident.
Tonight, 4 months after the gunshot, hours after the plea bargain, Mary Jo Buttafuoco is bitter, angry at allegations against her husband, furious that the DA appears to be taking them seriously.
This girl is an attempted murderer, a liar, a prostitute, and the DA is accepting her statement that she and Joe were together. Something's wrong here. Something's real wrong.
It all began with a stunning confession. Amy Fisher, in her own words, for the first time.
I went up to her doorstep with a loaded gun in my pocket. I proceeded to talk to Mrs. Buttafuoco for approximately 10 to 15 minutes, at which time she turned around to walk away. I hit her on the back of the head. I went to hit her again, and the gun went off. I guess, obviously, I shot it.
Amy Fisher was emotionless, almost matter-of-fact, which was perhaps more chilling than the confession itself.
She fell on top of me on the ground. I tried to get her off of me. I hit her, I think, twice, and I left. I ran away.
Is there any question in your mind to whether you wish to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Come on. Back up, fellas. Back up.
Seconds later, pandemonium outside the courthouse. Amy Fisher and her lawyer rushed out a side door. Her parents pushed their way past a crush of photographers in a daze. Amy Fisher had been charged with attempted murder, facing up to 25 years in jail. The guilty plea to reckless assault carries a minimum of 5, a maximum of 15. Tonight, the case has taken on a whole new dimension. Sources say she is prepared now to offer grand jury testimony that covers not only statutory rape charges, but allegations that Joseph Buttafuoco was an accomplice in the shooting of his own wife.
Well, we're investigating anything that he might have had to do or responsibility for the shooting of his wife, whether that involved having an affair with Ms. Fisher, whether it involved more significant conduct on his part.
Although Joseph Buttafuoco refused reporters' questions tonight, his wife angrily defended him.
I'm not going to let this one person destroy our lives. I'm the system. I'll fight this system. I will fight it tooth and nail.
When asked tonight whether she still feared Amy Fisher, Mary Jo Buttafuoco told reporters, quote, "I'm starting to get afraid of what I might do to Amy Fisher. Never mind," she said, "what Amy Fisher is going to do to me." Evidence on the statutory rape allegations, including Amy Fisher's testimony, could go to the grand jury, we're told, at any time. From the Nassau County Courthouse, Mineola, Long Island, NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Okay, so before I play the rest of this, that's right, Molson man. That's all true. Here's the problem, though. All right. At the end of the day, I hate even saying that, but this is how it is. First of all, she was a minor. Okay. 17 is not an adult. And I think that the reason that it was the statutory R is because honestly, if it were today, he would have faced much stiffer charges, much harsher, and not 4 months. Because while most states do have Romeo and Juliet laws, this is not that. There's a big difference between a 16-year-old and a 35-year-old. Okay. And the way that she was spoken about, like nobody cared that. How does a 16-year-old become a escort? Say if this had happened today, this would be considered, human trafficking. It would be taken much more seriously. Yeah, that's how old I was, Molson man, like 14 or 15 when this happened. But I think it's disgusting. Listen, I'm not saying what Amy did was right. Obviously, she should never have done that. And I don't know what the truth is about whether Joey knew about the plan or not. But the way that she was treated, the things that were said about her by the DA of all people, to compare Amy Fisher to somebody like John Gotti is preposterous. It's possible. And this is annoying to me because I think that people forget that she can be the perpetrator and be the victim at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. And I just think the way that she was treated and spoken about, and how they weren't even going to press charges against Buttafuoco is ridiculous and disgusting. I mean, it's abhorrent. And, years later, after she was paroled, she sat down with Oprah Winfrey, and which I thought, actually, I only have a little bit of it because I feel like, she might want to, she might try to copyright strike me. I don't know how the Oprah works, but anyway, and she puts it very succinctly and very, very well. And they, the way that they treated this girl in the press and in court, because the DA works for the victims, right? Well, Amy was both a perpetrator of one crime, but she was also a victim of another crime. And it begs the question, if she wasn't the victim of the first crime, would she have been the perpetrator of the second crime? Excuse me. Like, I feel like that wouldn't have happened. So, there was nobody looking out for her and nobody, protecting her, including the people who should have been, which would be law enforcement and the courts. All right, so now I'm going to play this. It's just a little quickie, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything. This is for y'all and for Dr. B, for the 90s kids. All right, ready? Here we go.
My two beautiful children are having.
All right. So there you go. Yeah. And Callie, she was dragged and dragged and dragged. Did y'all see all those little 90s, all the cartoons? I totally forgot about Beetlejuice and just all of it. Oh, it's working? Do you teach them how they have to blow on the cartridge to get it to work in case it doesn't turn on right away? You know, sometimes you know how them old games be, not wanting to turn on. There's a technique. You have to blow it just the right way and put it in just the right way. I miss those days. I miss having a Super Nintendo. My husband and I used to play Super Mario World all the time. So I just thought we needed a little just a little they're not going to be there. I remember I watched it too. Cement Shoes. They're not. Yeah. Well, I mean, what was that? It was it what 16-bit graphics or something like that? Wasn't. Yeah. The controllers being connected by a cord is a bit of a drag, but, you know, it just, yeah, me too. Cement lids. For Lydia, I always thought it was cute, but yeah, just a little nostalgia for everybody, a little bit of something fun just to break up this like case. So, all right, this is from Inside Edition, and this is Mary Jo giving her victim impact statement. This is at her sentencing. So here we go.
A difficult time leaving me alone. They are afraid I might not be there when they get home from school. They have been severely traumatized by this event, and this to me is the greatest tragedy of all. All this damage by someone who still shows absolutely no remorse for her actions.
The final chapter in the saga of the Long Island Lolita, Amy Fisher coming face to face with her victim.
Sometimes I think this is a nightmare and it didn't happen, and then I realize that it did.
It was the first time Amy Fisher had seen Mary Jo Buttafuoco since May 19, 1992, the day she sauntered up to the Long Island housewife's home and put a bullet in her head. This time, the two met in a court to hear a judge sentence Amy Fisher to 5 to 15 years in prison.
For many months, you had stalked Mary Jo Buttafuoco like a wild animal stalks its prey. Motivated by lust and passion, you were a walking stick of dynamite with the fuse lit.
The seductive teenager says she had a steamy romance with Mary Jo Buttafuoco's husband, Joey, a man old enough to be her father. He was the 36-year-old owner of the local auto body shop. She was a 16-year-old high school student when she says the affair began. Today, Amy Fisher stuck to her story.
These things, Your Honor, they are all true. They are facts. And I cannot and will not take them back for the sake of harmony.
Mary Jo spoke of her own truths and railed against the girl who permanently disfigured her.
The bullet is still lodged in the base of my brain and causes me constant pain and suffering. The future holds numerous operations, and if there is any unnatural movement of the bullet, I am faced with paralysis and perhaps even death.
She defends her husband of 20 years, the father of her 2 young children. Police say Joey Buttafuoco initially admitted to having an affair with Amy Fisher. Today at a news conference, he claimed he never had sex with the teenager.
Amy Fisher is a liar and has zero credibility. She knows that. I know she's a liar. I know she has no credibility.
Joey was not in court today. Once again, Mary Jo faced Amy Fisher alone. She read a letter written by her young daughter, Jessica.
Thank you for putting Amy Fisher in jail. She has done so many bad things to my family and I. Please make Amy Fisher stay in jail for a very long time so she can't hurt my mom again. My daddy, brother, Paul, and I love her very much.
The judge showed no sympathy for Amy.
You are a tragedy and disgrace to yourself, to your family, to your friends, and to society. And you deserve no less than the maximum sentence I can impose by law.
Amy said she was sorry.
If I could change everything, I would. If I could put my hand over her face and make it go away, I would.
While Amy and her lawyer are still furious that Joe Buttafuoco was never charged with any crime, the prosecutor says he is leaving Joey alone.
Amy Fisher was not believable, and we don't prosecute people because they're called lowlifes.
Even before today's formal sentencing, Amy had already chosen to return to jail to escape the media circus that drove her to 2 suicide attempts.
I don't want to be the Amy Fisher that stands here today. I want to be the Amy Fisher that I was before I met Joe Buttafuoco in November of 1990.
Oh, I guess I forgot to edit this part out, but there you go. Go ahead and like, there's all their links. Isn't it disgusting, the things that they said to her, the judge said to her? Okay, I can understand, not really. I get Mary Jo's anger at her. I do get that, okay? But the court, the DA, did you hear what he said there? The media referring to her as a seductive teenager, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. All right, hold on. Hopefully
Her
this
first sexual encounter with Joey, she says, it was
This is
afternoon,
Oprah.
and Joey drove me home. It was the middle of the day, and my parents were working upstairs in my bedroom. Before I knew it, he threw me on the bed and began telling me how much he loved me. Don't worry, he said, I had a vasectomy. He said to me, but you say in the book that you weren't even sure what a vasectomy was.
I wasn't. I didn't have teenage boys telling me I had a vasectomy.
So we had sex, and he kept saying all these really sweet things to me. And your thinking was, okay, Joey, we had sex, now you're my boyfriend. And so then after that encounter, did you continue to...
Yes, cement shoes. That is exactly what I was thinking. Like they treated her like she had the scarlet letter. It's just, I mean, it was horrible the way they did it, the way they treated her. And even like after all of it, you know, it's kind of no wonder she's doing what she's doing, and she did the things that she did after her release, because I mean, her own husband exploited her by selling their tape. You know, it's just sad.
See him? That was it, right? You saw him then every day,
At first I did, and, you know, it was at least twice a week for a year. You know, but I want to make clear, too, that Joey, he knew me casually for about a year. He knew the relationship I had with my father. You know, my father would yell at me in front of people. He knew I was vulnerable. And I think that he preyed...
You were going what?
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable, okay.
And I think he preyed upon my vulnerabilities.
You know what's so interesting about sexual predators, to make a point about what you're just saying? Everybody who has ever been a sexual predator, and all the millions of ones who are, it's a calculated move. It's very calculated. They see who is the most vulnerable, and they see how far they can go, and they work at pushing it. So I can guarantee you that between all the times that he saw you and saw what how your father treated you, and, you know, had decided that you were a pretty young thing, and whatever he said to you in the car or whatever he was saying to you to be so nice, that was all a part of the calculation and the manipulation.
It was. It
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
took me about 12 years to figure it out, though. Did. At the time, you know, even after, you know, the shooting and everything happened, I kept telling myself, well, he loved me. And it took me a long time to realize not only didn't he love me, he didn't think anything of me. I meant nothing.
No.
You know.
Was that hurtful when you first realized that?
It was hurtful to finally come to terms with that.
But you meant nothing to him, that he really just used and was a predator.
What would you have done differently?
I wouldn't have answered the door that day.
Can you go back to normal after that?
No. No, I'm not the person I was then. Now, also, I'm a lot older and a little wiser. But no, that day, May 19th, 1992, at 11:30 in the morning, when that bullet hit me in the side of the head, that life was done. I wound up addicted to drugs, pills and things for, you know, pain and anxiety and all. And I went to the Betty Ford Center, and I learned how to cope and live with this.
If you could address her now, what would you say?
Yeah. What would I say to her? You had a second chance and you wasted it. But she doesn't care because she's a narcissist. She doesn't care what she does to other people. She not only shot me, she wrecked my kid's childhood. It's all about Amy. And it's a shame she wasted her time.
And Joey, any contact with him?
Yeah, yes. We have 2 adult children. We have a grandchild together. So, yes, weddings, baptisms, birthday parties, you know, I'll see him, and we're cordial. I'm cordial with him. We have a cordial relationship.
All right. So that is that. But yeah, I mean, so I wanted to, let me say this. I'm not 100% comfortable with the term Lolita either. And I had forgotten that. I forgot the Epstein connection. However, this is the way that people know her. This is the way that people know the story. And so if I would have titled it a different way, I don't know, maybe I should change the title, and I'll have to think about it because I'm not 100% comfortable with it either, especially now that Cement Shoes has reminded me that what he called his jet. And I mean, it's not like I've not watched the movie. I've watched the movie Lolita. And I guess when I saw it, I was younger then, and I thought it was gross, but I guess it's different when you have, when you're a mom and you have kids, you just look back at certain situations differently. And I remember when this story broke, and I didn't I didn't think anything about the way the news was covering the story. I never thought about it. But now that I'm older and wiser, sort of, maybe a little, I look back on it and I feel it's gross. I watched the one with Drew Barrymore today because I couldn't get the one with Alyssa Milano to work. But anyway, yeah, I just, it's a sad story. And I think Molson Man, to your point about that she was okay with it. I don't know that I would necessarily say okay as if she wasn't upset about it, because she must have been upset to some extent because she sued them. But I think what it was is, I think she accepted it. I think that she was used to being exploited, And I think that what she ended up doing was making, unfortunately, the best out of the situation. So it's just sad. It really is just sad. So, but yeah, that's kind of all I got for tonight, you guys. I think, hey Alice, what are you doing? I think it's just a sad story all the way around. You know, there were no winners in this situation. Joey Buttafuoco, I don't know if he's still married. He remarried too, but I don't know if they're still married because, like I said, I got frustrated with all of it and decided I don't even care to know any more about him. So, tomorrow night, I will be doing the second part of the 12 horrors of Christmas. And hey, Cement Shoes, if you got that song ready by tomorrow, maybe you want to come up on panel and let us hear it. So maybe we'll do that. But that's what I got, you guys, for tonight. I'm kind of tired, but thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Shmina. I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I'm glad that you thanks for showing up. You okay, Alice, get down. Hold on. Alice is highlighting comments, and get back, Loretta. Anyway, so no, I don't want you to email me this. Or what, are you going to make a video of it? If you make it a video, email it to me. Otherwise, I want you to come up. I have no idea what Alice just clicked and why it looks like that on my screen. Oh, there we go. I fixed it. But yeah. Yeah, Cement Shoes, my email is in the about section. It's blindjusticepodcast@gmail.com. You're welcome, Amy. I'm glad you guys liked it. Oh, come on, Cement Shoes. All right, well, just email me the video and I will I'll play it. But I'm giving you totes credit. All right. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'll see y'all tomorrow night, hopefully with Cement Shoes song. I can't wait. All right. Bye.